I was out of home when I was 11, into the foster care system, lived in youth refuges, and then became independent when I was 15. I knew that I wanted to live overseas, and I knew that the best version of me exists kind of in the uncomfortable. And I was like, what's the most uncomfortable thing I could do? I'll just move to the other side of the world. I do think that dating apps are great and they provide a great facility to connect with people, but they have also, I think, dumbed down our social skills and created, I guess, a bunch of people who are maybe a little bit more socially anxious because we're used to just connecting online. Yeah. And I remember I snuck into the gay bar there and they knew I was underage. And I met a bunch of gays and lesbians who immediately took to me, and then I had a community and I had a family.
Nobody teaches you how to make friends, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like, it's just something you're supposed to know how to do.
Do you use Botox?
Actually, cue all my hate comments here. Because you know it's interesting, right? The reels that I have gone that have gone viral have not been people calling me homophobic slurs. It's been people pointing out that my face doesn't move.
I know a lot of people that when they're starting out trying to become influencers and so on, they'll spend so long not posting the photo for fear of what people are going to think, yeah? When actually, no one's going to think anything. And if they do, as Mel Robbins would say, let them.
Let them. About 6-7 years ago, I was in the darkest place of my life. I was really depressed. I wasn't engaging in therapy. I had a lot of trauma that I needed to go and, I guess, work through. And a lot of people will roll their eyes when I say this, but content kind of kept me alive. Because when I was unable to get out of bed, when I was unable to see my friends or I was avoiding problems, I would sit and scroll.
Hi, I'm Azamat.
And I'm Oliver, and we're the founders of Friend of Dorothy.
In today's episode, we're having our friend Mason, content creator. I was asking you before, what kind of content creator, so you could tell us yourself.
I don't even really know yet, to be honest.
Okay.
Yeah, look, I've been on social media for probably 10 years. I used to be a DJ. And then when I moved to London and started traveling, I just decided to start making reels. And here we are.
Yeah. We invited you because you have very, very inspiring story. Do you mind maybe share with our listeners and viewers a little bit about your background?
Yeah, of course. So I grew up in Australia in a regional town. No one will know where it is. It's called Barraba. It's near Tamworth. I just say Tamworth. That's
I know
easier.
that.
Do you know Barraba?
No,
you
not
don't. So it's a little town of about 1,000 people in country New South Wales. And then I was out of home when I was 11, into the foster care system, lived in youth refuges, and then became independent when I was 15. So I spent a portion of that time homeless. And moved to the big city, which is Newcastle, just outside of Sydney. Made a bunch of friends and connections in the queer community, came out. That was kind of my coming out story. And then, yeah, moved onwards to Sydney like every good gay does. I started DJing when I was 18, and I had a really good DJ career for about 15 years in Australia and kind of around New Zealand and Asia as well. And I work in tech as well, so lots of different. Yeah.
A lot of questions straight away.
And now I'm in London, so look out world.
So, wow, that's a big journey.
One of the most interesting things, I follow you on Instagram, is moving to London. What made you decide to move?
Yeah, it's a really good question. And I haven't talked about this on my social media at all. But I think I've always been independent. I've always moved around, certainly growing up in foster care and kind of overcoming a lot of that when I was younger. I guess I was just in Sydney. I love Sydney. Sydney's my home. Australia's my home. So I'm not going to talk smack about Australia or Sydney. But I just got to this point where I knew that I wanted to live overseas, and I knew that the best version of me exists kind of in the uncomfortable. And I was like, what's the most uncomfortable thing I could do? I'll just move to the other side of the world. And I was also aging out of the visa. I know you can't tell, but I only had like 6 months left to get the youth mobility visa within the Commonwealth to come to the UK. So I thought, why not? let's just do it. If I can always go home.
So you've come to London, which
I've
is
come to London.
a massive thing. How long have you been here now?
5 months.
5 months.
Yeah, I moved here in the depths of winter.
Okay. I mean, that was a mistake, wasn't it?
That was a mistake.
Like the worst time ever. But how's it been?
It's been good and bad. There's been so much good in it, in that I love the proximity to Europe. I love the people that I've met here. I think that London is a wonderful city, but also moving in the depths of winter, leaving 42 degrees in Sydney, living near Bondi, going to the beach every day, that was a big shock to my system. It was just dark and rainy and cold. So I think the first few weeks was quite depressing, is what I'd say. But the experience has just been... It's been tough, and I think it's been tough I think it's always tough both as queer people and people over 30 or over 35 to make new friends, to make new connections. You know, I don't party a lot like I used to, and I think it's really hard to work out outside of those spaces how to create connections, how to break into friend groups, and you know, kind of find your tribe and your community. So I think that's been really difficult.
And how did you do it?
Well, I don't know that I did it successfully.
No one likes him. That's why he's here. He reached out. He needed some friends.
Wow.
Please be my friend.
To the popularity on
please
social
be my
media.
friend.
Wow.
No, I think what I've tried to focus on, as per advice from my therapist, is on hobbies. So things like run clubs or things that are outside of the, I guess, bar community and outside of clubs. So I've used a couple of, obviously we all use dating apps, like, you know, use Grindr and Tinder and things like that to meet people. Had some success with that. I think it is a little bit easier for me because I do use Instagram. I create a lot of content. So I do interact with people online all of the time. So I've been fortunate enough to make a few friends through Instagram and TikTok. But I would also say, like, gym communities, I do CrossFit. I love the gym that I'm at right now. Everyone's friendly. Everyone kind of gets around each other, and you do make friends through that. And then there's other apps, like, I think there's, I'm going to get these wrong, but there's like Collective, there's Meetup. There's another one that just launched, which I should know the name of, but there's other queer apps you can use as well. Yeah.
So I think exactly with this in mind, we've launched literally in April Friend of Dorothy events. And the whole goal is to bring community together outside of just dating or hookup apps, but to create the environments, the platforms for people just to connect. I was so excited. We launched it with the board games. And I was actually very nervous because I was hosting it. And it's such an interesting feeling when like 12 people show up and you have no idea who are they. They're strangers. They just found us from our ads, right, of the events. And we had absolutely fantastic time. We had such a great time. We've played the board games. And I really want to see them again. You feel like this could bring community together and make new friends. So that was actually very satisfying.
And I think, like, it's what's interesting, what I've observed about my own behavior, right? If I think about who I was 6 months ago in Sydney, I have a friend group in Sydney, I have good friends, but I always did. And I think it's born out of, I think that these issues are born out of two things. One is dating apps. I do think that dating apps are great and they provide a great facility to connect with people, but they have also, I think, dumbed down our social skills and created, I guess, a bunch of people who are maybe a little bit more socially anxious because we're used to just connecting online. Yeah. And then also COVID, working from home constantly. I've been fully remote since 2019. Like, I work in tech full time. I always have been at home. So not having that, the ability to go to the office and connect with people has been really tricky for a lot of people. So if I think about where I was 6 months ago, the good thing about this move is I'm forced to do these things. And like the idea of a board game night, ask me 6 months ago, I'd be like, why? Now I'm like, yeah, where is it? Let's go. Like, let's go for a park walk. Let's go for a board game night.
Yeah.
So board games is just one of the types of things we're doing, because there are some other ones in London, like the Run Club and so on. Some amazing ones that have built up absolutely amazing communities. But I think for me, I had children 2 years ago and I moved out of London, and I found that very isolating. Yeah. Like, moved to a city, I didn't know anyone, and I found making friends there really, really difficult, because there was gay clubs and things where you can go and meet gay people, but generally they're all aimed around fitness, and if you're not into fitness, you're not included. And then they can also be really intimidating. I was talking with some people last night at a bar on this. And they were like, well, I don't want to go to that because everybody's got their top off and their abs out and so on. And that can be a really intimidating environment to go into if you don't look like that. That was a really big thing for us, in as much as what we wanted to do was create something where every week is different and it doesn't feel like a charity or it's just one thing. It feels more like a club. And you can be like, oh, I'm going to go and hang out with the guys from this. You can go in and you can see, oh, this week they've got this on. You're booking it a month in advance. So you know every week you've got social things going on.
Some connection.
And that it is genuinely inclusive. Because that's what I think there's a problem with a lot of events that happen, is they're only targeting one type of person. And if you don't fit in to that niche, and quite often it can come down to how you look and so on, or age. That was another thing when we were discussing it last night. People were like, oh, I'm too old to go to that. And I'm like, well, you're not. It's a run club. Age is irrelevant. Like, you run faster than me and you're 15 years older than me. Like,
yeah,
it's fine. You should be able to go. So I think inclusivity is something that is lacking a lot in these clubs. Is that something you found, or?
Yeah, I think, I mean, I'm going to try not to get cancelled for this, but I agree with all of your points, especially like I'm someone who's DJ'd for 15 years. I'm also someone who's I used to run dance parties in Newcastle and Sydney over the years. I don't do it a lot anymore in terms of DJing or being in those spaces, because I think over the last 15 years, I've seen those spaces change. So if I think back when I was 18 and I started going to the clubs and started DJing and getting the gigs, it was more diverse. It was more welcoming. These were our local bars. They were where our community came to connect. And certainly for me, I started sneaking into these places when I was 15. Certainly, when I first moved to Newcastle, and I didn't have anywhere to live and I'd just come out of that situation. And I remember I snuck into the gay bar there and they knew I was underage. And I met a bunch of gays and lesbians who immediately took to me. And then I had a community and I had a family, and these people helped me to get a job, and they helped me to find somewhere to sleep, and I still am in connection with them today. And I think that over the last 15 years, if you look at the other end of the spectrum where we are now, you're right. A lot of these parties or events and things like that are based around physique. They're based around the way that you look or who you are. They're based around taking drugs and drinking and those types of things. So I do think we need more spaces. If we're thinking about like clubs, run clubs, I think it depends on which ones you go to. I have been to CrossFit events, not in London, but around the world, that are very like that. But then I've also found ones that are so inclusive that I always have felt like I fit in. So I think it's just a matter of finding the ones that fit you.
Yeah, it's interesting that when we started the events, we launched them in April, and we have like 12 pilot events, for example, right? And the ones that sold out in the first week were pottery class, games, like board games night, flower arrangement. So something which is very interesting to try, but very inclusive.
Yeah.
And it now kind of all makes sense, because it's so much easier to try something where you don't need to, show off your physique.
Absolutely.
To have genuine connection with people.
I think we all crave connection, and I think certainly my experience being 35, it's harder. It's harder as you get older.
Yeah.
I do think it's harder as you get older, and going to events where it's like the bar is a lot lower, you don't have to be fit. Like if I want to go to a run club, I have to know how to run. If I want to go to a CrossFit event, I should know how to do CrossFit. Boards games night, that's really about just meeting people and having some silly fun. And I think that that's really cool.
Yeah. So obviously you come to London, and are you making friends? Like, you started making friends, yes? Okay.
Yeah. Yes and no. I think London can be a really lonely city. Like it's similar to Sydney. Like any city of this size can be a really lonely city if you don't really put the effort in.
Yeah.
There's so many Australians in London. So I already had some Australians who were good friends of mine from Australia. I've been blessed enough for them to introduce me to their networks. But I have made some friends through Instagram, through going to some events. So I think it's slow, but it's hard, but it's good.
Especially, as you say, when you get older, it is more difficult. And nobody teaches you how to make friends. if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like, it's just something you're supposed to know how to do. Whereas as a child, when you make friends, it's normally at school by people that you are forced to be around all day, every day. So your friends are made simply through proximity. Yeah. But you become adults and you move off to your new place, or your friends move away and so on. And then what you have to do is you have to learn, after all of that, how to make friends, because your friends will go off and have their own lives, but without any tools on how to do that, which I think can make it really difficult for people.
Yeah.
So many people come to London. I think that's what generally makes it quite a lonely city for people, is often people don't have the mental tools to know how to make friends or to go about doing so.
I think there's a bunch of different tools that I use. I think that it can be a lot harder, and I'm not saying it's harder for me than it is for anyone else, but I do solo travel a lot. I've been solo traveling for, the best part of 9 years for like 4 to 5 months a year. It is something I enjoy and I do a lot. And so it can be harder when even coming to London, because the reality is I've been in London 4 months, but I've also had 6 trips since then. And so what tends to happen, especially when you start to make friends and enter these friend groups, is people actually just stop inviting you. And it's not because they don't want you there. It's because they just forget you exist, because you're never home. And so I've found that challenging. When I am traveling and on the road, I tend to... I do use dating apps. So I'll use, the yellow Facebook and Tinder and things like that. But it also depends on the country that you're in. Like when I'm in the US, I find the dating apps or the hookup apps to be very direct and very to the point, and there's not much room for people to actually meet each other and say, hey, I'm not actually looking for a hookup. I'd love to make some friends while I'm here.
Yeah.
Whereas in a lot of European countries, it's very different. So I start with the dating apps. I also use the Meetup app. So I have a lot of interests in like tech, aviation, hobbies and things like that. And the Meetup app lets you kind of search for that and see what's around you. There is a new one that I've been trying out. It's not available everywhere in different countries. I think it's called Collective. It's queer events. So I try to do those things. And then if all else fails, I just go to the clubs and just kind of hope someone talks to me. No, but I also will I'll put a story up and be like, I'm in Copenhagen. And then usually I get a few messages from people saying, hey, I know someone, can I connect you? So I think social media can be good for that.
You mean on Instagram, you're saying that, I'm going to Copenhagen, and then people will DM you.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you mentioned like using like Grindr and so on to make friends. And it's interesting because this is conversations we've had before. And as much like Grindr's not for that. People don't do that on Grindr. But people do use it for that. What's your process for making friends and using Grindr to do that?
Good question.
I only ask good questions.
You only ask good questions. Yeah. Honestly, you've just got to cut through the noise. And sometimes I think I will just have conversations with people. I'll be very upfront. Like, don't get me wrong, I use hookup apps. Yeah. Like sometimes I just want to hook up and that's fine. And you use it for that. But when I am talking to people, and you'll get the classic, what are you looking for? Yeah. And I'll say, well, actually, I'm only in your city for 3 days. So I would really like to have a drink and meet someone here. Yeah. Would that be all right? Or I'd really like, give me your tips for your city. Would you be open to having breakfast tomorrow? And 9 times out of 10, you'll be told no, and that's okay. But also, like, I was in Finland and there was a guy who popped up and he was like, yeah, I'll take you to all the bars. Let's go. I'll meet you in an hour. And it was great. He took me to all the bars, showed me where to eat. It was awesome. So I think you just persevere.
And I guess it's like just not being frightened to put yourself out there. Because I think it's probably a hard thing to do, but it's like anything. It's only hard until you do it. Like the 30 seconds before you do it, when you're like, oh, should I do this? Should I not?
Yeah.
It's like, I know a lot of people that when they're starting out trying to become influencers and so on, they'll spend so long not posting the photo for fear of what people are going to think. Yeah. When actually no one's going to think anything. And if they do, as Mel Robbins would say, let them.
Let them. So he like... The whole social media, because I did the same thing. For years, I was just like, I would only post the curated photos and I'd post once a month and it was a carousel of me and my friends doing great things. And then when I started posting content properly, what I've realized through that process, here's what I've learned. Nobody actually cares. Nobody cares about you. They don't care about what you're posting. Just post it because they're too busy in their own lives, just like you're too busy in your life.
Yeah.
And so I've talked to people about this all the time, and I'm like, I still get myself anxious about the numbers and what I'm posting, and should I say that? Shouldn't I say that? And I've just gotten to a point now where I'm like, actually, nobody cares.
Yeah.
So it's not that serious. It's just social media.
They either just consume it or don't.
They'll find it or they won't. They'll like it or they won't.
And I guess it's the same for going to make friends. Like, go up, if you know, what are you going to do? You're going to say the wrong thing and have to walk away. Or you're going to say the right thing. Everybody's probably at these events, especially with our events, everyone's there for the same reason.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that people often fail to recognize is generally if you go to an event or you're putting yourself in a place where people are looking to make friends, that's what everybody's there for.
The same comparison could be made to you're on Grindr. Most people are on Grindr to hook up. It's the same thing. We're all kind of here for the same reason. I'm at the sauna. Most people are at the sauna to hook up. It's the same kind of thing. It's finding environments that everyone's there to do the same thing. You know, I think it's a little bit different when you go to bars and clubs, right? Because you kind of don't know what people are there for, and some people are just there with their friends and that kind of stuff. But if you're going to a board game night, people are there to meet people. They're not there to play board games. Well, unless they are. But
Mason, to shift the gear, would you be comfortable to talk about how modern aesthetics industry and pharmaceutical products help to live the best life for gay men?
Yes. Can you expand a bit more? Yeah.
Do you use Botox?
Actually, cue all my hate comments here. Because you know it's interesting, right? The reels that I have gone viral have not been people calling me homophobic slurs. It's been people pointing out that my face doesn't move. So I've got a whole folder of people. I think I just did that one, which was I got robbed because I got robbed in London on day 12, I think it was. There was a bunch of people that commented that did your face move when he took your phone?
Oh,
did he realize that? So I think it's funny. If you ask any of my friends or family, I'm a big fan of potions and lotions.
Okay.
For wellness, for aesthetics, for all that kind of stuff. So I think I'm always going to be in favor of anything from a vitamin to some Botox in my face to live a better life.
Yeah.
So I'm fully in agreement with you. And I had a conversation with somebody about this yesterday. And he was talking about I won't say who he is, but he was talking about his mother who had been taking Ozempic for about a year and a half, and she lost loads of weight. And her whole life has changed from like not doing anything to running around the beach with her grandkids and stuff. And what we got discussing was how people say, oh, it's cheating. Taking it is doing it. Like by taking it, you're cheating. And people have that opinion of a lot of stuff, like even Botox. Like I get Botox, fillers, whatever. I'm of the opinion, if it makes you feel good and it's not hurting anyone, like who cares?
I completely agree with you.
And it's definitely not cheating. Like, what a ridiculous comment for people to make.
I think that conversation, I'm sorry, it's boring. Like the conversation about, oh my God, it's cheating. This is modern medicine. I'm going to be, again, there's so many things I haven't talked about on social media that I'm going to talk about here, but I've used Ozempic on and off for 6 years. I used it because I was gaining a bunch of weight. I was really depressed. I was going through a really hard time in my life. And so I did it through my doctor. I spoke to a clinician, used Ozempic, lost the weight. I use it on and off now. I think that these are all tools that are clinically safe and available to us. Why wouldn't we use them?
Yeah.
And you regained all the weight back?
Yeah. I'm not my skinniest right now.
Such a bitch, isn't he? This is why I divorced him. It's not the only reason. There's a list.
I agree with you. And I think I do get flack from people online on TikTok or whatever. I don't care. I love it when people troll me. It just, firstly, puts my engagement up, but it also gives me something to do. Yes, I use Botox. I've had filler. I've used Ozempic before. I've used some peptides around injuries. None of this should carry any shame. It's just the same as like I take multivitamins to look after my health. None of these things carry shame. No. I don't think they should carry shame.
Yeah.
They shouldn't.
But people love to have a rhetoric around them. People love to demonize them or make them out to be, you're cheating, you're doing this. Well, I'm not cheating. I'm using the tools available to me.
So I feel, and this was part of the discussion I was having, is quite often people are maybe jealous that either they can't do it or are too frightened to do it. But for me, it's the only reason I can see that someone would be hateful about someone doing it. Like, just, go for it. Because I've started using NAD+. I'm on probably day 17. And I felt the best I felt in the last 3 years.
Yeah.
And it's great. Like, it just is good. Why should I not take it? It doesn't harm anyone. It doesn't hurt anyone. And it's such a simple way of making people feel better.
I also think it's a personal choice. It comes down to the person. I don't think that there should be shame around any of these things. Similar to you, before I left, I had a slip disc in my neck from CrossFit probably 4 years ago, and I'd had ongoing injuries and issues. Went to a doctor in Sydney, spoke about peptides, and now it's fixed and now I can perform better. So why is that not a good thing? Why is that demonized?
I think it's all about just education. So when you don't know about it, then you start making myth, you know. We launched a Friend of Dorothy digital clinic because we usually build something around our own needs. That's how we started building supplements business. But now, as we're getting a little bit older, we're like, okay, so what problems do we have?
Yeah.
But then the next for us was to, it's not supplements, it's prescription drugs. For example, buying Cialis or Viagra over the counter is always a little bit like a walk of shame, or standing in the queue, or voicing over what you need when there is a lady behind you waiting for her prescription. So can we do it online? And I didn't know that we can do it online, like in general, but now we've launched the prescription services on our website for erectile dysfunction treatments. Hair loss products. Again, I have no idea what is there. I had no idea. And we've introduced finasteride as well for the hair. And exactly what you talk about, GLP-1, GLP-2. So we've launched Manjaro in our digital clinic as well. So we're trying to build something that educates people, educates our community on of what is available, what works, and trying to promote healthy way of using this. Tools to make you feel happier.
In Australia, we have lots of digital clinics, and it's great to see that you've brought that to the UK, because I know, coming from a regional area, and I've lived in other regional areas in Australia over my career, moving around for tech jobs, if you get outside of the cities, it can be really, really difficult to get access to things, even for things like PrEP, even for things like Doxy, which people use for their own safety and well-being. I've had situations where I've gone into pharmacies and I've had pharmacists go, "Sorry, we don't fill that prescription here."
Yeah.
And that can be really challenging. So I think digital access to healthcare is really important.
Yeah.
And, from what I can tell, no one's ever done it just for gay men. Right? The way we are doing this, the way it's set up, where it's just something to make it so accessible for gay men, and to do it with pride. That's the way we want to do this. We don't want it to feel like, oh, this is top shelf stuff. This is hidden. It's like, well, most people over a certain age can benefit from these things. So why should we not have access to it? Why should we feel like it's something to be ashamed of or whatever? So we've really tried to make it where it's like our other products. It's in your face. It's unapologetically gay. And yeah, it's just something where it's built for the community.
Absolutely. And why shouldn't we have access to these things? I think if they're safe, they're clinically effective, and they help people have a healthier, better, happier life, that's no one else's business but ours, So it's a similar story if you look at Drip in Australia. It's a good friend of mine, Hugh, that owns that brand. It's a queer-owned brand. And he was looking at lubricant and was like, why are these in these ugly bottles that we should shove under our bed? Why should we not be proud of these products? We use them. And so he redesigned the formula and the product and the casing and all that kind of stuff to make it look like an Aesop bottle and that kind of stuff. And I think that we should have pride in these products, especially if they make our lives better.
Are you open to share which products you've used and they are working quite well for you from an educational perspective?
Well, obviously I've kind of used every GLP-1 on the market over the years because the access bit was impossible for a while. So it first came out, it was Saxenda, if you remember the brand name Saxenda, when I was trying to lose weight. Then it went into Ozempic, and then they took Ozempic away and gave everyone Wegovy, and then I've tried Manjaro as well. I'm not on anything right now, but certainly I would use them again if I needed to. I've certainly used, obviously, filler and Botox before. I did use for a little bit of time the... what's the hair loss?
Finasteride.
I've used finasteride foam before when I was thinning out a little bit. So yeah.
Did it
Had
help?
good
Did it
yeah,
work?
yeah, absolutely.
Well, you've got a full head of hair, haven't you?
Thank you. Well, actually, I've been asked a few times on social media if it's a wig.
Is it a wig?
It's not a wig. Do you want to pull? You want to pull, don't you?
All right, calm down, boys.
No, it's not a wig. But yeah, I think it's tricky. It's a tricky balance because what we don't want to do as a community is perpetuate the need for this beautiful look. I think that can be really toxic.
Yeah.
And I think everyone is beautiful in their own way. And I hate people go, that's really crap, but I believe that. But then it's also personal. This is how I feel good.
Yeah.
And that's nobody else's business. And I think that access to those products is becoming easier, and certainly through an online clinic, because you're right, there's shame, but there's also access issues.
Yeah. Well, for me, it's all about, well, I wish I knew that this existed, you know? For example, hair loss, Oliver. So, you know, before...
He's not a nice person, is he? He's just
I can see why you got a divorce.
So, like, if you know that there are products that can prevent, so if you start earlier, then you don't need to, stress about it for years and then spend a lot of money on maybe hair transplants or systems and stuff like that, right? So if you start earlier and you know that it exists, why not to try and see if it works, right? Looks like it works for you.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think like anything, like if you've got a clinician and a doctor who's telling you these things are safe and they'll work for you, then it's very different if you're buying a bottle of something off the street, right?
Yeah.
You shouldn't be doing that. But when there are services that exist that sounds like your clinic does, it just makes access easier. Yeah.
So just backtracking, obviously, to making friends, and you're in a very fortunate position. Like, you've got a massive following online, and people are, I think your audience, one of the things that I like about it is your audience seems really positively engaged with you, apart from the odd Botox comments. But what made you
I
first...
write them all.
It's all Azamat. When he's finished writing on mine,
you can always tell it's from a gay man, because the way that it's written, I'm like, that's a gay. A gay wrote this.
That's me.
Yeah.
But, I mean, first of all, how did you get so successful, and what made you decide, because you wanted to do that?
Well, I think if I reflect on kind of the last 10 years, about 6-7 years ago, I was in the darkest place of my life. I was really depressed. I wasn't engaging in therapy. I had a lot of trauma that I needed to go and, I guess, work through. And a lot of people will roll their eyes when I say this, but content kind of kept me alive, because when I was unable to get out of bed, when I was unable to see my friends, or I was avoiding problems, I would sit and scroll. And I think that sitting and scrolling can be toxic. But I think for a lot of people who lack connection, who don't have, I didn't have a lot of friends at the time, and I was going through a lot, these people online felt like my friends. And so every night I would jump online, whether it was YouTube or Instagram or TikTok or Facebook, and I'd be scrolling and I'd see a familiar face from someone I'd been following for a while. And I would have, and it would be unserious. I would have a laugh, or I would get some mental health advice, or I would watch Trixie and Katja or something like that. And so I think when I got through that, and I've done my therapy now, and I still do engage with that a lot. I do think that that's kind of why I wanted to put out content, because I was like, it was almost like me giving back. It was like, if somebody can see this content and put a smile on their face, who might need to have a smile on their face today, that would be pretty cool. And then the other half is just me being chaotic. When you're scrolling through platforms and you're scrolling through things and you see a familiar face, maybe a creator that you've seen for a while, there is this kind of feeling of connection, regardless of whether you've met them or not before, when it's authentic content. And that's the kind of content that I wanted to make. And so I'm not suggesting that all of my followers are friends or whatever, that kind of conversation. But I do think, to an extent, it is a thread connection with people, and that is really what kept me kind of afloat for a while. And then a lot of mental health content then helped me to go and seek therapy. So I think that it can be toxic if you're just scrolling for 8 hours a day. We've all been there, but there is a place for it to be really helpful and to reach people. And so I don't even know what my content is right now. I kind of just started posting chaotic thoughts and travel stuff, and, some things work and some things don't, but I really value the connection that I have with that community.
Yeah, and I guess posting your feet got the most likes and stuff.
Listen, if I wanted to disappoint more than one person, I'd have dinner with my parents.
So,
or me.
And do you find that, obviously, we've talked about how London can be quite a lonely place. Do you find that creating content has, to a degree, helped disperse that loneliness?
I think so because, I mean, I think a lot of people see reels and they see like a 15-second video or a 30-second video. And they realize how many hours went into planning that, scripting that, filming that, editing that. I find it really fun. I'm a bit of a tech nerd, so I love that kind of stuff. But yeah, to an extent, I feel like, it's an outlet for me to express myself and make connections. I actually have met quite a lot of people from my Instagram who are really great people now.
Like in person?
Like in person. I was in Wales last week. I went and met a guy that I started chatting with on Instagram who's lovely, and met all his friends. I met another creator probably a month ago who is wonderful, and we now keep in touch.
Yeah.
So I think that there is, I don't know, what I'm trying to build is a really healthy, positive space. And hopefully that my content comes across as authentic, because it is.
And when people reach out to you, it's generally in a positive way. Like I've never reached out to someone on social media, so I guess I wouldn't know how to do that.
Yeah.
And then I don't know how I would respond to someone doing it to me.
Yeah.
So I guess my question is, in what way do people reach out to you to connect?
Well, here's how to not do it.
Okay.
And that's send me a picture of your cock in my Instagram
Yeah.
DMs. No, I think people reach out all the time. Obviously, that ends up in a request folder, and I check that regularly, and I'll engage with people from there. How to reach out? Just message people. Like, I message people all the time on there. I'm not kind of worried
Say
about
what?
that.
Give me an example.
Hi.
Hi.
I love this reel.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
what
Oh my God, am I awkward? I'm an awkward person.
No, I think we're socially awkward.
I think it's hard, right? There's no rule book for this. I think one is be respectful, especially if it's a creator that has, quite a big following. It can be really difficult to stay on top of messages. So if you don't get a reply, it's not personal. I don't get replies from a lot of people. I mean, I will comment and message other creators or other people that I find on social media, even if they've got 1,000 followers, and be like, hey, I really like this reel. Keep doing what you're doing. Or, hey, I see you're in London. I'd love to grab a coffee. Like, they can only say no.
That's it, yeah. And if they don't reply, well,
okay.
Yeah, don't be angry about it. Yeah, you're right. It is totally...
So that's a key thing. Can we go there?
Yeah.
Don't be angry about it. It's the same on Grindr. If you don't get a reply on Grindr, don't stop sending 12 question marks and then getting angry at me. Maybe I haven't read my message. Maybe I've been at work.
Azamat, he's talking to you.
Yeah, I'm talking to you. No. But I think, it can be a toxic place if you let it be a toxic place.
I guess the key is to act how you would want people to act to you. And we've all done it, like got messages and not replied to them. Like, you're not interested in somebody, so you just don't reply. Yeah. It doesn't make you a bad person. It doesn't make them a bad person. No. How you respond to that. Like, move on. It's fine. Yeah. Okay.
There's this whole concept around digital availability, right? Where people assume because you're online on social media, because I've sent you a message, you must reply to me. Well, no, that's not how that works. That's not how interactions in person work either. And so people will get back to you where they won't.
Fair.
It's not personal.
What are your aspirations for the rest of the year?
For the rest of the year, I want to travel more. I want to connect with more people. I've got a bunch of stuff planned that I can't talk about for later in the year. Yeah. But I think traveling has brought me so much joy, and I love to solo travel. And I think for the longest time, I was like, I'm too old. I'm not 21. I can't just like pack a bag and go. Yeah. And so hopefully what I can do is maybe spread a little bit more joy and inspire people if they are thinking about going and traveling and experiencing the world and meeting people and doing it by themselves, that they absolutely can do that.
Absolutely.
Plans for the rest of the year is really to just do more travel, meet more people.
Yeah.
And why do you think so many people follow you? What is it about your content you think that engages with people?
Yeah, someone tell me. I don't know. I think when I started posting reels before I left Australia, and I sat down and I started to think about what type of content would I like to make. And what was really clear, and what I've always been clear about, is that I want it to be me. I don't want my reels or what I talk about on Instagram to be a different person to when people meet me in person. And so the chaos you see on Instagram, that is my life. Like, that is how chaotic I am. And I love it. And I don't apologize for it. Yeah. And I care about people deeply. And I want people to be able to see that authenticity through my content.
Yeah, fair. Mason, we're out of time.
We're out of time. But this has been, honestly, like, I've learned a lot. In particular, like content creation stuff, I found very useful. So, yeah, I mean, I just keep doing what you're doing. I love it. And thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
And good luck with your content creation when traveling the world.
Good luck.
And keep them feet pictures. We're joking. So if somebody wants to obviously follow you and engage with your content, what platforms are you on?
Just Instagram at It's Mason Andrews, TikTok at The Mason Andrews. Pretty much just search me anywhere and hopefully you'll find me and we'll connect.